Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us today. I'm Warapon Pimdade from People and Performance. In my previous video, we talked about how to ask summer performance review questions that actually improve performance. Have you ever noticed that organizations often argue about performance ratings, but rarely agree on what performance actually means? In this video, we'll explore 3 different ways organizations measure performance results, behavior, and competency, and how to decide which approach is right for your business and industry. Referencing Managing Employee Performance and Reward by John Shields' book, plus current research evidence. Let's move on to performance measurement trends. Recent HR research shows that nearly 95% of organizations now use a formal performance management system, meaning performance assessment isn't optional, it's expected. But how they assess performance is shifting. Traditional annual reviews used to be almost universal, with more than 80% of companies using them a decade ago. Today, that has dropped to just under 50%. As organizations increasingly prefer continuous feedback and regular conversations with employees. Meanwhile, over 85% of companies leverage digital performance tools to support goal tracking, feedback, and ratings, showing a clear trend toward more frequent tech-enabled performance measurement. This trend aligns closely with John Shields' framework in managing employee performance and reward. Shields explains that organizations measure performance in 3 main ways: results, behaviors, and competencies. Each reflects a different logic of performance, and each is suitable for different roles, industries, and strategic priorities. The way you measure performance shapes behavior. If you measure results only, people focus on outcomes. If you measure behavior, people focus on how work gets done. If you measure competency, people focus on developing capability. Each sends a very different signal to employees. Results-based measurement focuses on what was achieved. This includes sales targets, productivity metrics, project delivery, or financial outcomes. Results measures are attractive because they appear objective and are often easy to quantify. They work best in roles with clear outputs and stable environments. However, results alone do not explain how outcomes were achieved or whether those outcomes are sustainable. The limitations of results-only measurement is that while results-focused measurement might seem straightforward, it often ignores how those results are achieved. This could foster a short-term mindset where employees aim for immediate outcomes rather than sustainable success. Additionally, this approach may inadvertently undermine collaboration and ethics, as the drive for individual targets can overshadow collective goals. It's essential to consider these potential impacts when relying solely on results-based metrics. Behavior-based measurement focuses on what people do at work. This includes collaboration, customer focus, communication, and leadership behavior. Behavior measures are particularly useful where service quality, teamwork, and organizational culture matter. Tools such as behavioral-anchored rating scales help clarify expectations by linking ratings to observable examples. Behavior-based performance measurement can be useful, but it also has important limitations. First, it relies heavily on managerial judgment, which increases the risk of subjectivity and bias. Second, many important behaviors are difficult to define and observe consistently, especially in complex or knowledge-based roles. These systems can also overemphasize what is easily visible, while overlooking less obvious contributions such as problem-solving or collaboration. Finally, behavior measures do not always link clearly to organizational outcomes, particularly if they are not aligned with business strategy. For these reasons, behavior-based assessment works best when combined with results and competency measures rather than used on its own. Competency-based measurement focuses on what people are capable of doing. And then, competencies include knowledge, skills, problem-solving ability, and leadership capability. John Shields explains that competencies are performance inputs rather than performance outcomes. They are especially valuable for development, succession planning, and future-oriented roles. However, competencies are more abstract and require clear frameworks and greater capability. Competency-based performance measurement is useful for development, but it also has clear limitations. Competencies are complex and difficult to define, which makes them harder to assess objectively. These measures rely heavily on judgment, increasing the risk of subjectivity and inconsistency. They can also be resource-intensive and may not always link directly to business outcomes. This is why competency-based assessment works best when combined with results and behavior measures, rather than used on its own. According to John Shields in Managing Employee Performance and Reward, organizations typically assess performance using results, behaviors, or competencies. Results and behaviors represent current performance. Competencies represent future potential. Effective systems often combine all three, rather than relying on a single measure. Results-based measures work well in sales, manufacturing, and output-driven roles. Behavior-based measures suit healthcare, education, hospitality, and service environments. Competency-based measures are particularly useful in leadership roles, professional services, and organizations facing rapid change. The key is alignment with business strategy and job design. Performance can be measured in different ways. Results show what was achieved. Behaviors show how work was done. Competencies show what enables future performance. There is no single best approach, only the approach that best fits your business and context. Once you decide what to measure, the next challenge is how fairly those assessments are made. In the next video, we'll explore rater bias, why it happens, and how organizations can reduce it to improve fairness and accuracy in performance management. Thank you for tuning in. If you find the content is helpful, please like, follow, and subscribe to People and Performance channel.